How about them Irish?
I can't take it anymore. I need a national championship.
This is the Four Horsemen Podcast.
Well, Notre Dame survived the bye week. Tim, did you survive Shane Gillis?
24 beers in. I did, at least. Fantastic day. Going to give you the boots on the ground coverage of this event. It was fantastic. Lots opened at noon. Not fantastic. I'm used to 8 a.m. Got there early. Ended up going to the bar and drinking instead. Like wasting $20 when I have a truck full of beer and whiskey and stuff. So that was fun. But Brandon Fry, I don't know if anyone of y'all know him. He's a guy on Twitter. Very big Irish personality. Used to live here. He somehow met Zach Bryan's dad and put together this whole fucking tailgate thing in the stadium lot. So, like, Zach Bryan's dad was riding around on a scooter in Bucky's costume. That was fun. And we had my tent set up. That worked out great. Everyone else had tents. We had live music. Because it's a country concert, so there were people playing country music next to us, like live music with like guitars and the speakers and everything, and that was awesome. I was definitely blasting my JBL party box over the top of them with the Irish sea shanties for the game day playlist. That was awesome. The old Karens hated it. They're like, this is a country concert. I'm like, I don't even know. I just found that out because I was definitely here for just Shane. Made probably like 100 steak kebabs, and everyone said those are the best things they ever had. Dylan, you know I'm a pretty good cook. Also, the thing about Zach Bryan is the entire day up until about now before kickoff, I kept calling him Luke Bryan because I thought that was his actual name. And I was talking to his dad saying, yeah, so I've never heard your son Luke before, but looking forward to it. And he just let me get away with that, so that was kind of funny. All right, now we get to the really cool part. So I'm sitting there grilling steak kebabs. No big deal. I'm trying to get rid of these things. So I just want to not have to do it anymore. And this tall old dude walks up to me and he's like, hey, are you a Notre Dame fan? And I'm decked and head to toe in Notre Dame shit underneath the Notre Dame tent with Notre Dame tongs, with a green grill that has Notre Dame on it. I'm like, yeah, I think I would consider myself a semi-fan. Why? What's up? He's like, would you like to feed a Notre Dame player for free? And I was like, I'm feeding everyone for free, so no big deal. And he goes, hey, Napper, come on over here. Mind you, I just spent the last 7 days talking shit about the offensive line. And Anthony Knapp and Wagner and all of them. And I'm like, oh, perfect. And so he gets up to me. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is very awkward for me. He doesn't know who I am. I don't know why I feel awkward. So I'm like, maybe I should tell him, what I was saying online. So he gets up to me. I'm like, big fan. Can I get a picture? So, I totally pussed out. No, but it wasn't the time to talk about football. We were all just vibing, having fun. And he also liked my steak kebabs, so he should be slightly well fed. Might have put out a pound of steak kebabs there for the game this weekend. So now we get to the
show, Tim?
Is he what?
Is he coming on the show? Do we get an Anthony Knapp episode?
I probably could have asked him. Hey, you want to just vibe for an hour and just talk about what you think Notre Dame's going to do this week? Not actually what you're going to do, what you think you're going to do. Anyway, so get inside the stadium. Here's the little PSA for everyone going to games this year. Beer is still being sold in the stadium. If you didn't know that, get out from underneath the rock you're underneath. Selling beer inside the stadium. I'm telling you all right now, you cannot get drunk in the stadium because the beer lines were forever long. Nothing they can do about that.
I thought that was just going to be a point about how watered down your American beer is, but
that was also. I was drinking Blue Lights all day, so I was good.
LBLs?
Yeah, Labatt Blue Lights, and then get in there. Beer line's pretty long. Got hit on, which is fun. So you cannot get drunk inside the stadium.
Hold up. No, you're not skipping by that part. You got hit on? Let's elaborate. Who hit on you, Tim?
It was a girl.
Okay.
She was like, so how do you get these tickets? I was like, well, I bought like 8 of them because I thought I'd be able to resell them, and you can't, so I got kind of hosed there. She's like, I think once I said that, she's like, oh, wow, maybe he has some money. And that's why she liked me, because I was definitely looking like a fat slob. Like, I was hammered. I was like drooling on myself. It was not a pretty sight. So I don't know what she saw in me, but anyways, you can get drunk before the game and then you can maintain your buzz when inside your stadium. But you can't start and peak unless you're a sorority girl. You got no shot. So keep that in mind. This act itself, I didn't know who he was. The opening act was a songwriter named Dermot Kennedy. He was pretty good, and he definitely sold me because I know, Dylan, you're going to love this. He finished off his set with the song Carrickfergus, which is a fantastic Irish song. If you've never heard it, look it up. It's kind of slow, so if you're slow, whatever. So I loved that. Shane Gillis opened up his set with talking about jerking off. I loved that. I don't want to spoil his act because he's probably going to tell some of those jokes again. But the things he was saying on Notre Dame campus, you could not have done 10 years ago. So I'm really glad Notre Dame's grown up, allowed us to be adults and have fun. Zach Bryan Band was actually really good. Never saw him before. People watching was fantastic. And this is one more PSA. If you're a dude, you cannot dance like you're a sorority girl. And that's what they were doing. There is like all these white boys and one black guy were dancing like sorority girls, and I was like, okay. And they kept staring back at me. It was very, very fun to watch until we made eye contact, and then it wasn't fun to watch anymore. That was the whole night, except for then after to get home, couldn't get an Uber, so I stole someone's Uber, and that was fun.
You know what's funny? I know who Dermot Kennedy is, but I did not know who Zach Bryan was. And like yourself, I thought it was Luke Bryan, but like some cheap knockoff. So it's not just you. Also,
good.
Not a country music fan, to be honest.
Yeah, the band was what I was really vibing with because they had trombones and stuff, and I was like, I used to play that.
Well, you're musically gifted, Tim. I don't know if the audience knows that.
Yeah, I was a music major for a while, and then I realized music teachers don't make any. They have very false job security. Our teachers always get cut first, so switched off that. But yeah, actually they wanted me to play a song, and I totally forgot that they asked me to do that until right now, when they were tailgating. They're like, "You play?" I was like, "I haven't picked up a guitar in 2 years, but if you want me to play something, I will." And then they never asked me. It's probably because I was playing music over the top of them. They were pissed.
Steve, you're here. I haven't introduced you yet to the audience, but you're always here. How are you doing?
I do exist, at least for the time being. Saturday night, sometime around 11:30 to 12 o'clock p.m. It's yet to be seen if I do still exist. Hopefully, we do. Yeah, we have a big game this week, guys. The Texas ass-to-mouth Aggies are coming into town. And, yeah, no, this... Would you guys characterize this as a must-win or a can't-lose?
We got to win convincingly. Not blow them out.
I don't think we have to win convincingly. If we
can't win a
by
squeaker.
one, a win is a win. But is it a must-win or a can't-lose? That's the key question.
Okay, Steve. As we're all here drinking, let me ask you a clarifying question. What do you mean by must-win? Like for the playoff? Like your playoff hopes depend on this game? Is that what you mean? Or just for the sake of this football program, we have to win?
Thank you for setting me up. In a manner of speaking, yes, because quite frankly, we're in at 10-2. We all know that. Everybody in the country knows that. We're in at 10-2. But if you start out of the gate 0-2, then your margin for error with a freshman quarterback and now a questionable offensive line is now 0.0. That means that USC, you can't drop that. Pittsburgh is frisky. You can't drop that. Like
Heisman candidate Steve Angeli comes into town. Exactly.
So, yeah, it's just fun to posit the question, but legitimately, this is going to be a big one. And I even if they do drop this, which it's possible because and we're going to get more into analysis on it. A&M is a good team. They got a good coach, and they have a really dynamic quarterback. Although he's a little bit banged up, he's certainly going to be able to make to have some havoc plays. And whether or not those go for us or against us, we'll ultimately end up seeing what the result is. Hopefully, they go for us. But I'm not going to pretend as if there's a 100% chance that we're going to win this game. That there's no world in which we lose, and the question begs, that begs the question: in the event that we do drop this, what does the rest of the season look like with CJ Carr, who is immensely talented, and I think he's the guy. But there's a lot of question marks. Obviously, you win and you control your own destiny. That's the very obvious point. But it begs the question: how much pressure is on these guys to play their opening home game? And if they go 3-0 on the first 2 series, so to speak, are boos going to be coming in from Notre Dame Stadium? Hopefully not. I think hopefully Notre Dame
I don't think so.
Irish fans are graceful enough to give a little leeway and offer some grace to a young offense, so to speak. But
wait,
I'll
ask
kick
you
it back
what
to
the
you,
3-and-out
Dylan.
looks like?
3 straight sacks for a loss of 25 yards. No, I'm joking. I don't know.
That's when there might be boos.
yeah, of course. No, I mean
That's what we're gonna have to talk to Anthony Knapp about what's going on.
He was cramping, confirmed. So that was a big thing. All of them were. That was.
Did you get that from him?
I got it from the person that was hanging out with him because I did not want to ask him that directly. I was trying to avoid football talk. I was like, "Can you confirm they were cramping?" Yeah, they were cramping. I was like, "Okay."
Well, the good news is, really quickly, just a weather report for the game on Saturday. It looks like at kickoff, which will be 7:30, it's going to be about 79 degrees. There's 0% chance of rain. It's going to be just a beautiful September day. By the end of the game, it's going to be in the mid to low 70s. So I think this is a really great weather. It's going to be great weather, and it should be pretty fair-handed in that regard. But yeah, I mean, I kind of set the question here, Dylan, and I want you to kind of go off of it because you have a unique way of kind of parsing these things out.
Well, I think it's a must-win just for the health of the program and the fan base. We made so much progress last year undoing certain narratives about the school, and I think if you come out and lose your first 2 games, that might undo some of that. It might call into question the direction of the program. Just as confidently as we thought it was going into the season, we might have to rethink that. I don't think it's a must-win purely from a playoff perspective. I know that's going to sound crazy to lose your first 2 games in the season, but who knows what A&M is this year, and who knows what the rest of our schedule might look like. It's completely possible Pitt is a top 25 team by the time we play them, or USC might be a Big Ten contender this year. So there's still a lot to play for. I wouldn't say our playoff hopes are done at 10-2, but you do need help. And you need to win out, like you said, Steve. Your margin of error is 0. So must win in that context, no. But for all intents and purposes, I do think it's a must win game. You can't go 0-2 against 2 big programs to start the season. So we need this one more than A&M does, in my opinion. But Tim, I'm curious what your thoughts are on it because you think outside the box.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a can't lose, not a must win. Just looking at it purely from a football. Like a non-Notre Dame, outside looking in, it's a can't-lose game. Like, you can't lose this game at home after you just lost last week. It's not a you have to win this game or you're screwed kind of thing. So from an outside looking in perspective, it's that. From inside looking out, this is a must-win for the culture of the program. Like you just said, if you can't bounce back after that last week, and you had a bye week this week, that's not looking great for the program. So, especially because that's kind of what Notre Dame's been priding itself on is like, whenever Notre Dame loses, Marcus Freeman gets to scream and yell at practice, and they come out fiery. So like after NIU last year, we put up 67 points on Purdue, and our starting quarterback didn't even throw a touchdown pass that game. They come out fiery after a loss. But they didn't play well; they beat themselves. So I think a lot of those mistakes there were a lot of mistakes to correct, and I think they just spent the last 2 weeks correcting them. So. Hopefully they have a good practice week from what I've heard, which is not much, but from what I've heard, they are having a good practice. So,
yeah, and
boots on the ground.
I think the bye week is the blessing here. You recover from the sad loss in Miami, but as we all surmised, it's a loss you can stomach at Miami, as we talked about ad nauseum. and then it's really just kind of a lock in and focus. And they've had, by the time that everything happens, they're going to have 13 days of preparation for this A&M game at home. You don't have to travel. That's obviously going to help. You have the home crowd. That's going to help. And then you have effectively 2 weeks to prepare. But more than anything, you learned what you were in that Miami game. You learned that you do have the QB that you want and that you need. And I think that they can also, I think that CJ Carr has earned the ability to have the training wheels. They're still on, but you can loosen them. Right, this is still an A&M defense that's really, really good. They have a great front seven. I saw your ears perk up, Dylan, and we can get into the A&M schedule and their results so far this year, which has been a little bit sloppy, so to speak. But they still got a hell of a pass rush, which is something that we have to be cognizant of, especially given last, 2 weeks ago's, kind of experience that we had down in Miami. So I'm not gonna lie, I want CJ to have a little bit more freedom at home where he can actually hear and bark out orders and call hot routes and everything. And maybe they're going to be a little bit better with RPO situations or calling different plays. So you got to let CJ cook a little bit, but I think you still got to have some reins on him. But yeah, I mean, this bye week is just going to mean everything, and I think. Marcus Freeman having 2 weeks to prepare for anyone is going to put him in a good spot, unless, the other team obviously has Jeremiah Smith. But,
yeah, well, before we kind of recap week 2 and look at week 3, yeah, Tim, go ahead. You seem to have breaking news there.
Yeah, because, it's A&M. They love getting out of the South. Ticket prices have plummeted, which is not good. Home crowds show up. Like, the cheapest ticket before we lost to Miami was $500. I'm seeing below $200 tickets. A lot of them.
Yeah, I see $212 on ESPN.
Yeah, that's not good, guys.
Yeah, there's going to be A&M fans there for sure. Probably not as much as Georgia or Ohio State or Cincinnati, but there's going to be a healthy contingent of A&M fans there, I think. Yeah, just to kind of talk A&M before we're going to get to it later. Do you guys think it was beneficial to have the bye week this week? Because the trade-off is we're going to have to play maybe 5 or 6 games in a row before we get our next break. And of course we won't get one later in the season. But the benefit of it is you get to completely dissect the Miami game, correct whatever measures need to be corrected, and then you got to devote at least the coaches got to devote 2 weeks to Texas A&M, which is tough to start the year, right? You're preparing for both the season and Miami. You're probably not preparing for A&M too much. Now you get your 2 weeks to prepare for A&M. Are you happy with the bye week here? Because I'm certainly itching to watch more Notre Dame football, and it's really annoying that, as a soccer fan, they had the international break this week, the same week we're on a bye week, so this was a really lousy sports weekend for myself.
Well, you got to see SMU miss 2 kicks against Baylor, and if you didn't see that, it was a good game. But
I hate SMU for losing that game.
yeah, it kind of cost me money there. Actually, I'm going to kick it off with Steve. I'm going to gather my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I do like the bye week here. Again, it does. If it were any other program other than an SEC talent that's going to compete for a conference title, even though they're going to go ultimately probably 8-4 or 9-3. Because it's A&M and time is a flat circle. It is good for us to, especially with a freshman, to have that week to digest exactly as you said, Dylan. So I'm okay with it. And just kind of looking at the schedule, we have most of our games are at home coming up. Like the road games that we have are obviously going to be Arkansas, and then we're home, and then we're home again against SC, and then we're on the road in Boston College, and then we're back home again. So even though we're kind of going straight through, a lot of those games are at home. So I think that it works that, even though we are playing consecutively week after week after week, there's not going to be as much travel because most of the travel is going to be on the back end of the schedule.
Yeah, I'm gonna say any year but this one I hate the bye week this week, but this year I think it works out well because you needed it to fix a lot of things. I don't think you could have fixed a lot of those things in 1 week. This way I think we're good. So this actually worked out really well. If you'd asked me that before the season, I would have said this is stupid, but now I think I'm into it. Again, what Steve said, having 2 home games, then an away game, then 2 more home games. That's fantastic. You're gonna get set. Everyone's gonna kind of calm down, relax, kind of feeling. Just naturally, you're gonna fall into your own routine, right? Especially you're not traveling as much. You had this week to kind of clear your head. I think this is probably the best case scenario scheduling wise that no one saw coming. So yeah, I'm for it this time.
Okay, I want to pivot to week 2 recap, and then I want to have a fight about the top 25 because we've got some interesting ballots this week that should make for some good conversation. But let's just talk about week 2. Illinois at Duke. So going back to our prediction game, we all picked Illinois to win and cover, and they did. However, that doesn't really tell the story of the game. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch this. I had nothing else to do.
They smoked them.
Duke played really well. Illinois pulled away late, but Duke was giving them all they could handle for a lot of that game. I think Duke's a half-decent team, but they got another tough game this week when they play the mighty Tulane Green Wave, future ACC member. I got to then watch parts of the Baylor-SMU game. SMU pulled the Baltimore Ravens in the sense that they snatched victory from the jaws, or they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
Let's go, Buffalo.
Congratulations. The Bills won their Super Bowl last night. It was so happy to see everybody celebrate for one. But yeah, so just SMU managed to lose that game. They pissed it away. And just so annoying because my first parlay of the year was I was going to win it, and all I needed was SMU to close that out. So there's that. You got the Iowa matchup. Great game.
The under hit, there's a fucking surprise.
The under hit?
Always under. I don't care if it's 12.
You took Iowa to win, which was wrong, but you did take Iowa to cover, which was right. So 3.5, they lose by 3. Good job there. BC, Michigan State, what a game. I don't know if you guys got to tune into that. It was overtime classic. Just a shootout. I mean, Childs at Michigan State is a really good quarterback. I really like what Boston College is doing, too. Probably a game Boston College should have won. I'm not just saying that because I picked them to win. For the record, in our prediction game, an overtime loss is going to count as its own thing. So I'm 4-6-1 on the year.
Oh, go screw.
But credit to you guys.
The 80s?
It might be. Credit to Tim as well. Just for having another great week, man. You're 8-3 to start the year. You're really hot. Steve and I had a good week. We're catching up to you. Steve's really crushing the spread. Against the spread, Steve's doing really well. He's well above 500
He likes
now.
the spread, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he took Michigan State outright, but took Boston College to cover, which was smart.
Bang.
And then we all got Oklahoma right. Huge win there for the Boomer Sooner.
Skunk Bears.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to dignify who their opponent was, but I'm very glad Oklahoma took care of business. What else happened this week, guys? Clemson looked horrific against Citadel or Troy, whoever they're playing.
That's
y'all keep ranking them,
so. Delicacy.
Yeah, well, they were down 16-3 at one point. It was not bueno for the Clemson Tigers, and they're going to have to turn it around fast because, as we're going to talk about, they got a really big matchup this week. Favored, but they got a really big, tough game against Georgia Tech. Just overall, really weak slate of games, but a great games themselves.
Two
like,
more
I had a
to
lot of
mention
fun.
really quickly was South Florida with the massive upset down in the Swamp, 18-16. And then Mississippi State, their coach died, but the legacy lives on with the big upset against Arizona State, 24-20. Huge touchdown pass with like 30 seconds left. It was like a 50-plus yarder, so that was absolutely electric. How can you not be romantic about college football?
It's a good question. And they were stomping Arizona State for the longest time, too. Arizona State pulled back, and then the Cowbells win it at home. Tim, I don't imagine you get a chance to watch much college football this weekend just with what was going on at Notre Dame Stadium. Okay, what are your thoughts?
I missed all the night games.
Surprising you?
No, I was watching the SMU Baylor game live, and I was just like, oh god, I feel so bad for this kicker. The first time, then in the second, I was like, Oh God, I feel so bad for this kicker. That's not fun. I didn't see a lot. I was, semi busy, but I was watching all the games on the tailgating TV, which service wasn't great. Which another thing, so this kind of pissed me off because anytime there's a football game, they bring in signal boosters so your cell service doesn't go straight to hell. They didn't do that for this concert, so everyone's cell service sucked. That's why I gave you guys I think it was 20 messages at 2 in the morning. Now I was sending them throughout the day. They weren't just non-stop drunk texts at 2 in the morning. I just want to make that clear. One was, but most of them were
horrific. It's one of the worst venues for Wi-Fi and cellular service I've ever experienced in my life.
You've never been to the carrier dome.
That's fair. I tried to get off messages last year so badly, or live tweets from inside the stadium, and I just could not for the life of me get it done.
May I please give a quick take on that?
Absolutely.
I fucking love that. When I finally go to Notre Dame someday it's going to happen. And when I do, my phone is going to effectively just be a camera and a video camera. That's it. And I don't care because I just want to be in the moment. I don't want to text. I don't want to call. I don't want to tweet. I don't want to check an app. I don't care. When I step into that house that Rockne built, I want it to be 1994. Right? I don't care about technology when I'm in Notre Dame Stadium. I just want to suck in all that was awkward, but I just want to absorb all of the aura of years past. I don't want Wi-Fi or good service. I want it to be a dead zone because I just want to be in the moment. That's my quick take.
I was playing you off like the Oscars there. You were being too sappy for a while. Yeah. Listen, come talk to me when you've stormed the field and touched the grass at the house that Rockne built. Fake grass. Yeah. I also want to shout out Oregon. Jesus Christ.
Did
you see what they
did? Shit out of them.
Oh, and they didn't play some FCS team. Oh my God.
Oklahoma State.
They played a Big 12 decent team and they beat them so badly. I don't know if Oklahoma State can play football ever again.
Bro, that was Purdue
Oklahoma
performance.
State's in a bad spot. Didn't they go like 3-9 last year or something?
I can't say I give enough of a shit about Oklahoma State football to
or the Big
fact
12.
check that. But still, even if you're the worst team in the Big 12, you shouldn't lose by 60 points to Oregon.
66.
And Oregon's a great team. And don't get me wrong, like Dante Moore looks like the goods. I ranked Oregon second on my ballot this week. I think they're really poised for a great season. But just shout out to the Ducks. Like what a destruction of a. You don't expect it against Power 5 teams. So credit to Dan Lanning's team.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, anything else that you want to close out in regards to week 2 thoughts ahead of getting into week 3?
USC might have the best offense in the country. People are going to have to be ready for that.
Okay.
Right now, their quarterback
Who'd they play?
Number 1, nobody. But nobody
exactly.
Is anybody. We'll see. And I'm not saying USC is going to run the table because their defense, they gave up 20 to Georgia Southern. So I'm not saying their defense is fixed. But offensively, their quarterback is number 1 in QBR, which accounts for quality of competition. And they've got, 3 receivers who would be our number 1? Jacoby Lane. I think Malachi Lemon's still there. You've got that explosive. What's that player's name? He took a
Zachariah Branch.
Fast. Zachariah Branch. You got Branch's younger brother there. They got really good offensive. They got a really good offensive line, but they got great running backs as well. And Lincoln Riley, I don't rate him as a head coach. I don't rate him as a person. I certainly don't rate him as a cook. But as an offensive guru, that guy knows football, and he can play. He calls those plays. So. Just heads up, I'm letting you know now, as we enter week 3, USC's offense is one of the best in the country this year.
Yeah, man, he'd be a great offensive coordinator, but unfortunately he also has to coach defense and special teams. So,
and that's why we will beat the shit out of them in October.
Also, they're playing high school teams. Like, come on. I don't care how good you look when you're not playing, when you're playing air. Speaking of, I don't know why you have USC ranked. I also had them ranked, so I can't. I have them ranked 23, so.
Well, the AP doesn't have them ranked still, which is interesting.
Because they didn't play anyone.
No, but they should have been ranked, I think, to start the season. I think USC is a good team this year. They were the best 6-6 team in history last year because they lost. I swear to God, they lost all of their games except the Notre Dame game by having the lead in the fourth quarter. If you just flip a coin in those games,
like I said,
should have split them.
He'd be a great offensive coordinator, but he's also got to play defense and special teams.
He does.
He could go 6-6 again this year, and he started off 2-0.
Did you watch the Michigan game last year? I couldn't believe they lost that game. Same thing with the Penn State game. USC was a decent team last year. I think they're good this year. I don't think they're gonna win the Big Ten. I don't.
We're 9-3.
I think 9-3 would be a good season for them. I think 10-2 is on the table, and if they go 10-2, they should be in the playoff discussion because they have a very tough schedule this year.
Mm-hmm. Just let me know.
Is this hot? I don't mean to be the USC guy on a Notre Dame podcast.
I'm giving respect to SC this year. They're not something to be overlooked. I have them ranked 25 for now because I still think they need to. There's a prove it factor, so to speak, but there's definitely a lot of talent there. And if we are not ready when they do roll into town, then there's going to be trouble. But when they do roll into town, let's just go off on a quick side tangent with this. They better be prepared to get their asses kicked because they're still playing this footsie game of are you in, are you out? It's only September, but we're not going to respect the traditional rivalry of the October November kind of home and home, and it just seems like they're just kind of throwing tradition away, which is typical LA and typical California. Fuck them, I hate them.
Yeah,
but
and they'd rather play Georgia Southern than Notre Dame.
Yeah,
100%.
Dylan, you've been all over this like white on rice, and I really respect the takes that you got on it. So just wax poetic on the rivalry and the historicity of it, so to speak, and then also just just shit on the Trojans and the administration real quick, and especially Lincoln Riley. Fuck that guy.
Well, it all started a year ago, right? Lincoln Riley started peddling. I don't know if we can keep Notre Dame on the schedule. And then he leaked that to Colin Cowherd. He's the first person to talk about it. You can go on Cowherd's show a year ago and find him talking about what's the point of USC playing Notre Dame. I am 100% convinced that came directly from Lincoln Riley. I think they wanted SOS, strength of schedule, to be a big part of the committee's decision and how they rank teams, and they've done that. They've also wanted the SEC to go to 9 conference games, so it's the same as the Big Ten. They've also done that. So I think USC is okay with playing Notre Dame, but now they want it to be in September. And the last I've heard is USC has, in terms of negotiations, they're willing to sign a long-term deal with Notre Dame as long as those games are played at specific times and in specific places. That's up for Notre Dame to decide if they want. Notre Dame said they'll play them anytime, anywhere. As a fan, I feel like that's devaluing the rivalry. I feel like basically they're saying this game's a nuisance to us and we'd rather have it with very little stakes on the line. And I think that's the antithesis of what the Notre Dame-USC rivalry is. Our rivalry is a history of spoiling each other and winning national championships against each other. It's about Heisman moments. It's about rankings. It's about the legendary history of college football. I mean, people talk about the 10-year war between Ohio State and Michigan. Well, Notre Dame and USC had like a 20-year war where maybe Ohio State won one national championship in that 10-year war. Notre Dame USC won like 8 of them in 20 years between Parsegian and Coach McKay over at USC. So I don't like that they're talking about moving this to September. And I think it's a valid discussion to say, well, look, if you're going to neuter this game, what's the point of even playing it? Obviously, I want them on the schedule forever, but I don't get what they're doing over there. I think they're being a little too prissy with everything. They forgot who they were. But, we'll see. I'm not sure where it's headed. But all I know is Notre Dame could go 1-11 this year, and that one win will be against USC. That's the game. I did a preview for another podcast. I said it doesn't matter what's going on in that game. Notre Dame's not losing. With USC talking about ending the rivalry, and we're in possibly the last ever home Notre Dame game against USC, that's going to be the most volatile and hostile stadium Notre Dame's had in a long time. Maybe ever. Maybe since Miami in '88.
Yeah, it could get pretty nasty and violent.
It's going to get nasty, I think. I think Notre Dame fans are known for being very polite and respectful when people come to campus. I don't know if it's going to be like this year. I think there's actually a lot of animosity towards USC.
USC fans in general are usually pretty shitty when they go to the state. They're always leaving their trash and shit everywhere. Like, So I think we've been kind of putting up with it, but I think this year there's going to be like, if someone comes by my tailgate and is like dying of thirst, I'm going to pour the water on the ground in front of them. I have no respect for them at all. Any of the fans, because they're fans. Like at first they're like fighting against it, and now like, oh no, I understand it now. Like we're just gonna get cucked. Like bunch of betas, man.
Yeah, the propaganda machine.
Yeah.
You see this with fandom all the time, right? The USC fans are very against it. Now you're starting to see them kind of toe the USC line.
This is how Nazi Germany took hold.
It's exactly how Nazi Germany took hold. I'm glad you made that comparison. Speaking of Nazi Germany and comparisons to our rivals, Michigan puts their goddamn thing in the air and chants "Hail." Okay, our rivals are Nazis. Anyway, Tim, when I was at USC game with you 2 years ago, I got drunk and talked to every USC fan there, so I got along with them pretty well. But that's because I was a very drunk Irish Canadian getting along with people. Yeah. Steve, did I do you a service there? Did I hit what you wanted?
No, certainly, and I appreciate that. And listen, the answer is every single game between Notre Dame and USC from now until the end of time, when it's in Notre Dame Stadium, it should be in October, and it should be at 7 o'clock p.m. or 7:30. And when it's in LA, it should be at 7 o'clock p.m., 7:30, 8 o'clock, whatever it is. It's a prime time game every single year in October in South Bend, and Thanksgiving weekend when it's in that trash heap out west. So the fact that they want to throw away tradition, fuck them. In no uncertain terms, Buck Analytics, you're the only cool USC fan. Other than that, the rest of you can all go to hell. And it's just it's really upsetting, man. I mean, college football is tradition, and there's been a lot that's changed about the game in the last couple of years. Some positive, but mostly negative. And we're just getting away from tradition year after year because of these super conferences, because of these deals, because of all this money and all this bullshit. And yeah, there's in a world where increasingly the soul is being sucked out of everything. This is one of those things that, I mean, I despise Michigan. Don't get me wrong, but I hate USC. But in a way that it's like I look forward to playing USC. Like it's always been a dream of mine to go out to LA and catch a game Thanksgiving weekend someday. Like it's the way that it is for a reason. And you don't just throw that away because of fancy trends.
Well, I do have a question because you guys are the historians here more than me. Has it really always been that way, going back to 1928 or 7 or whatever year it was when we started doing this thing, where it was always like October here, November there?
No, it used to be Thanksgiving weekend every year until the late 50s
and that's when they moved it up. Okay, that's right. Okay, yeah, I remember now.
And I think it was due to weather at the time, which is no longer an excuse because they play in the Midwestern Conference. And Notre Dame, for the longest time, said, well, we'd like to have our last game in California so we can recruit that weekend as like a big recruiting push. But also, one, we don't really recruit California nearly as heavily as we used to. And then, two, that's a blackout weekend now. So there's no excuse. I think this should be Thanksgiving weekend every year. Mm-hmm. At the very least, we should keep the way it is, like Steven mentioned. Going to September is just disgusting. That's not what this game... If you viewed the game the way we do... It should be played on Thanksgiving because it's the biggest game in college football. If you ask me,
it's the best thing to be thankful for.
Mm-hmm. And like that's not to say September rivalries don't matter. I love the Michigan game in September.
I would love to play Michigan every September. Absolutely.
It gets the start of the season. It means its own thing. And Michigan has their own main rival. We have our own main rival. So when we play each other in September, it's awesome. It doesn't devalue the rivalry
for a reason,
But exactly when you play USC in September, it's like, what are we doing here? And we've got Clemson on the schedule. That replaces SC from a strength of schedule position and from a network, okay, who's going to bring eyeballs position. So you've got them replaced, air quotes, but you don't replace tradition. You don't replace history to me. And that's why when people say, well, Notre Dame needs USC more than them or vice versa, it's like neither. You can replace each other in terms of eyeballs and in terms of strength of schedule as easily as possible, but you can't replace tradition, and that's something that's being lost.
Yeah, and the reason why this exists, and Tim, you may know this, but just as a recap, and for those unacquainted, the reason why the entire rivalry exists to begin with, the entire reason we go out there, is because Knute Rockne's wife and the wife at the time of USC, I forget the coach's name, they were acquainted and talking for one reason or another, and
they're on a train ride out to the game.
Yep, they wanted to get a train ride out to California in the middle of, late in the season because of the dreary weather in South Bend. Like, that is literally just wanting good weather in November is what forged the greatest rivalry in all of college football history between the All-Americans, between the College Football Hall of Famers, between the first-round picks, between the NFL Hall of Famers. Like, these are the two biggest brands, and USC has had some down years. Notre Dame has had some down years. So we haven't both been Titans in recent history since, what, the 70s? But even still, and we've basically alternated decades here and there of who's kind of big dog. But
Steve,
it's getting to the point.
Just quick trivia for you, okay?
Yeah.
There's been one all-time Notre Dame USC game where it was number 1 versus number 2, which is technically a game of the century. Can you tell me which year it was played?
Oh God, was that 78?
No, I'll give you a hint. One of us won a national championship that year.
You're the resident historian, so I give up. I'm sorry.
Tim, do you know?
Yeah, 1954.
No.
I have no idea. I want to say it with confidence.
I'll give you another hint.
I'll give
you another hint. There was an issue, a behavioral / academic issue, where the two star players on the offense were sat by head coach in the biggest game of the season to prove a point to his team, and they still went to Southern California and beat the shit out of them. I'm talking 1988.
Yeah, I was assuming
Tony Rice.
I knew it was 88.
Lou Holtz, of course, sits Ricky Waters, and another player on the offense, name's escaping me at the moment, and which is absurd. You're playing your rival number 2 on the road for a chance to win a national championship, and you sit your best players to prove a point about discipline.
That's the most Notre Dame thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's disgusting. It's disgustingly Notre Dame, and Notre Dame kind of ended up running away with the game against USC. So, anyway, sorry to cut you off, Steve. I just thought that'd be fun trivia for the audience.
It's all good. I mean, I'll close up here. I don't want to dwell too much on it because thinking of those dog shit.
Well, then let me get 2 questions in before we close this because mine are really quick.
Yeah.
So one, I just want to throw this out there. I assume that they were playing in November when they first started this thing. 1, for the weather, but 2, because taking a train from Indiana to California is not a day trip back then. So I assume that's why they wanted the last week of the season, give them a chance to, make the travel arrangements either way. 2, if let's say we do end this rivalry with USC, I would like to see us replace it with USC on the schedule. Give us the Gamecocks instead. Nothing would piss off USC more than that. Just replacing the colors on the rivalry logo.
Or UCLA.
No, it's got to be USC. UCLA, they'd be like, okay, whatever.
My house. Yeah, it's an hour drive from my house, door to door, from me to South Carolina. What's that, Rice Eccles Stadium? I forget, but yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think Miami would be a good replacement for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's got to be USC. It's got to be USC.
Steve, anything else on the subject? I don't want to move on without you.
No, it's all good. I mean, we've covered it. We've hit all the talking points. It's just you said it absolutely perfectly. Don't diminish it. This is history. It exists for a reason. And stop going with the trends. And there's some things that are worth preserving. And I think in the next decade, SC is going to be a problem. I think they're going to be a perennial, 9+ win team. As soon as they get things right, I think they're on the right track. They have a hell of a recruiting class for this year. And Lincoln Riley is building something, for better or for worse. I think it's for worse because fuck that entire city. But I'm just so sick of things being thrown to the wayside for the short-term dollar or just the short-term trendy pick. Just have some fucking spine in this world is what my ultimate message is. But we don't have to dwell on that dog shit program any longer. We can start getting into our week 3 picks if you guys are ready.
Well, I want to first off say that I have the best rankings in the world, and I don't know why you guys give me so much fucking shit for it every week.
Well, Tim.
Well, yeah, let's get into that, Tim.
What's your problem?
Mississippi State, 16th is ridiculous. And Texas is not ranked because Texas
would
beat Mississippi State by 60 points if they played today.
That's a game of theoreticals. I watched them play on the field.
Okay, but we're not in week
They're not
15,
playing each other.
But we're not at the end of the season where the resumes have been built. We're in week 3 where we're still largely basing this off of expectations for the season.
Arch Manning is hurt. Did you see that clip I sent of him with throwing?
They're better with him not throwing the ball, I think, to be honest. I think Arch Manning is kind of a bust. I don't want to say that too soon, but I thought he was overrated as a recruit.
Yeah,
True.
The name hyped him up. But either way, I don't know why you're shitting on me putting Mississippi State up there because who would they beat? They have beat... I have notes here. I thought I did. Maybe I don't. Fuck it, they're up there.
They beat Arizona State.
Yes, exactly. They just beat the number whatever team in our rankings.
Oh, yep. And anyway,
we had Arizona State ranked 7, and they just beat them 24-20.
Does that maybe say more about how we viewed Arizona State than it does?
How you viewed Arizona State?
Yes. Yes, but now I know they suck because I know Mississippi State isn't a top 25 team.
Yeah, I
well,
think
now they are.
Also, you've got SMU ranked. You've got SMU 25th. We just watched them lose. What are we doing?
But you saw how they lost. They lost. The guy missed 2 kicks in 2 minutes. And that's how they lost.
Fair.
So
okay,
they lost. Fair, but there was no one else to put up there.
Okay, like you've left off teams like Utah and BYU, but you've got Michigan State there. What has Michigan State done to deserve the 20th ranking? They
didn't
won
lose.
In overtime. Well, other teams haven't lost either.
BYU has a loss.
No, they don't.
Did they not?
No.
Hang on. Oh, they beat Stanford and Portland State. That's why. Who gives a shit?
Okay, is Stanford that much better than Boston College?
Is Stanford that much better than Portland State? Stanford lost to Hawaii week 1, bro. Like those are 2 FCS programs right now, talent-wise. You can't tell me otherwise.
But Michigan State won a coin flip overtime game. Like it could have easily have been Boston College.
Did they win? Yes.
They did. Yes.
That's all that matters. If Michigan State goes 12-0 and they barely beat all these teams, they're going to be one of the top 3 teams in the country at the end.
You know, actually, which one bothers me even more? You've got NC State at 18. What?
That was a mistake.
North Carolina. Oh, fair enough then.
You know what? I put them up there because I was like, well, I want Notre Dame to look good or have some sort of SOS when we get there. And
sure.
It was like I have it right here: NC State, Auburn, Michigan State, Missouri, UNLV, USC, Baylor, and SMU. Take it however you want. Those were bottoming out my top 25. And I said, fuck it, Notre Dame podcast. I'm gonna make us look good. Throw them up there. Because if this was not a Notre Dame podcast, I probably wouldn't have Notre Dame ranked at all. They're 0-1.
You're sleeping on Texas Tech, man.
Yeah, they are.
Am I?
I think they might win the Big 12.
They're pretty frisky.
I don't hate that you have Clemson off your top 25. I understand that. I don't even hate that you have Alabama.
Clemson way too high as just a quick apology.
That's okay. I mean, where we ended up having Clemson as a unit was 17, and that's lower than where the AP has them, I think. So I think we're fine on how it ended up. I don't mind Clemson being off your ballot. I don't mind Alabama being off your ballot, but Texas, man, I don't. If we have Notre Dame where we have Notre Dame, I don't know how we have Texas off the ballot.
I can tell you how, because this is a Notre Dame podcast, and I can put them number 1 if I fucking want to. All right?
We did
That's
that
why
for
they're
the
up there.
longest time. we'd have Notre Dame listed wherever we ranked them. We would put them first on the list, so they'd be like 10th, but they would be sequentially ordered number 1, and then it'd be like 10 Notre Dame, 1 Alabama, 2. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, that's fair. Why did we stop doing that? That's a travesty.
I don't know,
Mister. I have to do time and edit this and send it to me properly. Where's your form? All right, so I might have missed. Honestly, I might have missed Texas Tech. I have a list of teams here that I had written down that are 2-0, and I don't have them on here, so I might have just overlooked them. So
listen, you're bringing the P-Wagon energy, which is what we really want, I think, at the end of the day, because Steve can attest to this. I love P-Wagon. His top 25s were insane. He's been fighting for Hawaii to get into ours. So, you know, like, I
they
like
lost
that
this
you've
week,
got
did they
your...
not? No, they didn't. They're still, they're 2-0 or 3-0, aren't they? Or are they 2-0?
There might be a case for Hawaii.
There
But
might be.
I ain't making it.
No. Also, Texas beat San Jose State last week,
Yes.
and they looked like shit doing it. Not a top 25 team. Beat someone good, then I'll put you up there.
Well,
Arizona beat Hawaii, so no, they're not undefeated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Well,
I had
Texas
Arizona
is
here.
gonna-
They beat Hawaii and Weber State, so that's why they're not on my top 25. If they played someone better, they might be.
Yeah, Texas plays in the SEC. They're gonna have a good team eventually.
Yep. They're going to play a good team eventually.
They will, yes. Eventually, they'll lose to Oklahoma, but that'll be a conversation for later. Because I know Steve loves Texas, and in that rivalry, I'm more of a Boomer Sooner. So it's always fun when we do that rivalry week.
All right.
What do we got next?
Yeah, let's get into some picks. Or before I do, Tim, was there anything you wanted to cover before we get into picks?
Yeah. How come I'm the only one with USF in the top 10?
Yeah, that's fair. I have them 12.
Because they beat Florida, and Florida is mid-good.
Ranked.
Florida is a 7-5, 8-4 team this year.
Well, they were 1-0 at that point, and they were ranked.
It's fair. I think for me, the earlier in the season, the proportion of like resume versus kind of expectations / just like your roster assessment is more lopsided towards the latter. And as the season goes along and you get an abundance of sample size of games, then that starts to go the other way and resume becomes the only thing that matters. And I'm with you, Tim. If USF beats Miami this week, they're in my top 5 because they would have 2 ranked wins at that point.
3.
Well, Boise State, right? So 3. So I think it's just a matter of time. I think the early season rankings are just kind of, you're balancing a lot of things and you're putting more emphasis on resume, which is fine. It's just, I would do that later. I'm with you just later in the season.
Oh, all right. I guess we'll wait till we start being good. Why be good week 1? Why don't we just lose to Miami? We can do it later in the season when we start playing good. The fuck kind of mentality is that?
Well, rankings don't matter until the end of the season anyway.
They matter after week 1. Preseason rankings don't really matter. But week 1 rankings, like, you just showed the world all your talent. Like, you can start ranking off resume. You saw them play. It's not just hypotheticals. You saw them.
Yeah, but some teams played better teams than others, right? Like
yeah, and I saw San Jose look pretty good against Texas.
Yeah, the Sharks are playing well this year, just not in hockey.
Wow.
San Jose, but anyway. Steve, week 3, what do you got for us?
Picks, baby, picks.
It's a loaded week.
Yeah, last week was an absolute stinker in college football, quite frankly. But this week is going to be knock on my boner, which is wood, and that's going to be hopefully a better week. The first game we have, I don't have times in networks this week, so I apologize ahead of time. You guys are just going to have to use the old Google machine in order to figure out when and where to watch these games. But the first game we have is a frisky one. A struggling Clemson team is on the road in Atlanta to play Georgia Tech and play the Rambling Wreck. Clemson is favored, however, by 9.5 points. Tim, who you got?
I've got Georgia Tech to cover, and I think Clemson wins, but I definitely think Georgia Tech has a shot to win this game. Yeah, fuck it. Give me Georgia Tech to win.
All right. Dylan, Clemson's getting
somebody
9.5.
who
I'm trying to let you guys
your
catch
answers as you go. I just, I had Clemson all written down for you, and I was feeling good because Georgia Tech's winning this game.
Oh wait, are you handwriting this?
I'm on my phone.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, then give me give me Clemson to win then.
Okay.
All right, now make it Georgia Tech again.
I'm taking Georgia Tech to win outright, guys. And
I am too. I really am. I'm taking Georgia Tech to win.
would you fuck off?
I am taking Georgia Tech to win though.
Okay. I am as well. I just think Georgia Tech is going to slaughter Clemson. In fact, I think 9.5 should be the other way. I don't think Clemson is going to do well in this game. Clemson didn't look good against LSU. They were horrible against Troy. And now they're going to Georgia Tech to play maybe the ACC dark horse this year. I like Georgia Tech. I know they got Haynes King still at quarterback there. I'm 98% sure on that.
Correct.
That's one hell of a quarterback. I can't believe the line is 9.5 for Clemson. I think if anything, it should be 9.5 for Georgia Tech. Give me the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, give me Georgia Tech to cover.
Oh, shut up, Tim.
And win.
Dylan, you're correct. So at the very least, if you don't believe in the Georgia Tech money line, you have to at least take them plus 9.5 because this is going to be a one-score game. But the team that wins by one score is going to be the Yellow Jackets. So I'll take GT, please. Up next, we have a great rivalry. UGA, the Georgia Bulldogs, are on the road in Knoxville. They are playing the Tennessee Volunteers. Georgia on the road, favored by 3.5. Dylan, who you got?
Whew. Well, this is a tough one because I love home underdogs. However, I don't know who Tennessee's quarterback is.
Joey
now,
Aguilar. He was a transfer from
App State.
App State.
So
yeah.
I did research. I know who he is, but the point I'm making is I don't know who he is.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Georgia has a great defense that's going to travel, and they have a quarterback who's started off really hot this year. I want to take Tennessee. This feels like an upset game, but it's not going to happen. I'm going to take Georgia, and I'm going to take Georgia to cover.
Tim.
Yeah, you're gonna have to spell Volunteers Voluntears because they're gonna be crying after they get the shit whopped out of them. So, give me Georgia to cover.
I agree with both of you, so sorry to go chalk here, but yeah, I think that Joey Aguilar has never played a defense like the Dogs. So I'll take UGA to win and to cover. Up next is a good one and a fun one. It's the backyard brawl. It's Pittsburgh on the road in Morgantown, West Virginia. Pittsburgh is getting 6.5 points. Tim, who you got? The Panthers or the Mountaineers?
I got Narduzzi crying in the post-game presser regardless of who wins this game about some bullshit. So I'm going to think that it's going to be West Virginia pulling off a massive upset. So give me West Virginia to win straight.
I like that, Tim. Here's the thing. Ohio beat West Virginia last week, and that sucks because this game, I think, had a lot of hype going into it, and I think the line was a lot closer until that last game. I feel like every time I watch Pitt, West Virginia, Pitt wins when they don't deserve to. That's what's going to happen here. Pitt's going to win. I'm going to take West Virginia to cover 6.5 points, though.
Yeah, I'm really tempted to take that exact line here, but you know what? I think I am going to take Pitt to cover West Virginia. Something about that program lately. I would love for them to be a perennial top 25 team. Just feels like they're a program in disarray. So I'm going to be a Pitt respecter and take them 6.5 points. Now we have USF, the Grim Reaper, on the road in Miami. Now, Miami is laying 17.5 points here, so they are massively favored. However, USF is coming off of a couple of upsets here. So, Dylan, who you got? Do you have the Bulls or the Hurricanes?
I invoke my original Horseman clause to defer Tim for first response.
All right. Well, I don't think USF is even a top 25 team. So
He's got them ranked 8th or 6th.
Absolutely electric, baby.
yeah, I think three ranked wins in a row is too tall a task to ask of a very good USF team. So I don't think Miami's going to beat them by 17.5 though. So give me Miami to win, USF to cover.
Tim, you son of a bitch. You're spot on. Miami's going to win, but there's no way they win by 17.5 points. I think USF is going to take it down to the wire, but I think Miami will win by about 6 to 10 points.
Yeah, so we're all just taking the same exact thing here. I agree completely. Miami will win, but this will be tighter than 17.5. So take the Bulls to cover. Up next,
This is getting boring. We've all basically agreed on every pick for 3 weeks now. We're gonna have to start.
That's why you
slicing
keep
this up.
deferring to me because you know I'm good.
And I've got mine written ahead of time here. There's no comeback to that, by the way. That's such a great schoolyard last word. Like, how do you come back from that? You just sound like a whiny loser if you do.
You can't. It's devastating. That's absolutely.
It makes it worse if you try.
We're heading to the SEC, boys. This is a one that has some pretty big implications. Florida is going to be hungry because they just came off of a devastating loss against USF. They are on the road in Death Valley. LSU is getting 9.5 points at home against Florida. Well, I don't know who should I go to because I was flip-flopping back and forth, Dylan and Tim.
I like
Dylan,
Tim
you
first.
Up the rights.
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, that's fine. Florida does not have the culture to bounce back, so the only thing they'll be bouncing is their head coach out of that campus very soon. He sucks. Give me LSU to cover.
You know, it's really interesting you say that because Billy Napier was headed for termination last year, but because they overperformed and went 7-5, he still has a job, and it's very hilarious. He might get fired 3 weeks into the season. Here's the thing, guys. LSU beat Clemson, not overly convincingly. It was close enough. And Clemson sucks. I don't know how good LSU even is. And LSU beat, Louisiana A&M College Community Tech of Latter-day Saints. Beat them by just a couple touchdowns, which is, you should beat them by more than that. I'm gonna take the Tigers, but I'm taking Florida cover. I don't like 9.5. That's way too big of a line for, I think, two teams that might be a little overrated.
Sounds like Gator bait to me.
Not so fast, my friend. The Florida Gators are going to win this game.
Oh!
Why? I have absolutely no reason why other than DJ Lagway is a hell of an athlete and Napier is coaching for his job. That's
facts.
it.
That's a good enough reason.
That's all I got.
The longer I cover college football, the more I come to realize that simple takes are sometimes the best ones because nobody knows what the fuck's going on. And you could overanalyze everything, and at the end of the day, ball go boom. Like that, it's as simple as that. And if you think the coach is coaching for his job and the quarterback's a hell of an athlete, that's what we'll see.
Yeah, and if you think that following my picks after I went 8-3 is smart, this is a get right week. I'm going back. I'm going to end up 8-8 by the time this week's over. Just so y'all know.
Want to give a shout out to some other really good games this week. We're not going to cover them in terms of our game, but we could maybe briefly discuss them before we talk A&M. Wisconsin at Alabama. Alabama does not look good, and Wisconsin is Wisconsin. That's a 20.5 point spread. There's no way Alabama's covering that, in my opinion.
No shot.
Do you guys think Wisconsin might win the game, though?
No.
It's at Alabama,
they're not
too.
there. They're just not there yet.
Steve?
Yeah, no. Alabama's covering that. They're probably going to win by 30.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I said that about Florida State. Now we were all wrong on that. So
Shut up.
Arkansas at Ole Miss. That's going to be a nice little SEC game that's related to Notre Dame because obviously we're going to Arkansas in a couple weeks here. That's a 9.5 spread for Ole Miss. Do you guys think Arkansas can pull off the upset on the road?
Yes.
Talon Green is a hell of an athlete at quarterback. He's like 6'6", like 220 pounds.
Also, Lane Kiffin's a bitch.
I love Lane Kiffin, though. I love Lane Kiffin. We can differ on that one. He's got hot daughters.
I hate that you said that.
Am I wrong?
I don't know. I don't look at his daughters.
He posts them online all the time.
University aged, at the very least.
They are, yeah.
Did
you think I thought they were hot 10 years ago? No, I'm not some pervert. They're all in college, bro.
And lastly, Duke at Tulane. Tulane 2.5-point favorites.
Covers.
ACC play-in game? You know, do they get membership if they beat Duke?
Tulane's going to smack them.
I think Tulane's going to win as well, Steve.
Yeah, I'm with you both.
All right. Well, that's it for a really great week 1 or week 3. It's going by so fast already. I can already feel it ending. You guys want to talk about the big one we've got coming up here? The Texas A&M Aggies.
Well, I'll set the stage real quick, and then we'll just get into it. Some notable players and some notable things. Of course, first and foremost, there's the quarterback position. There's Marcel Reed. He's completing only about 66% of his passes, which is good, not great. So far, A&M, who have they played and what have been the scores? They've played both games at home. They beat the UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners, 42-24. They gave up 24 points at home, and then the following week against the Utah State Aggies, they won 44-22. So their defense has been susceptible to giving up points. The offense has been pretty high-powered so far. Marcel Reed is a dual-threat quarterback. He has 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, 509 yards through his first 2 games. However, he's also their leading rusher. He only has 105 yards through these first 2 games. So that means that whoever the running back is for the Aggies has averaged less than 50 yards per game. The running backs are actually pretty damn talented for the Aggies, and they have a massive offensive line, which is going to be similar in nature to the size and scope of the Miami Hurricanes offensive line, which is obviously going to give us some pause and make us second-guess some things. Their leading receiver, his last name is Craver. I don't know his first name, and quite frankly, I don't really care. But he has 236 yards and 3 touchdowns through the first 2 games, so he's averaging about 115 yards per game.
And he's probably their second best receiver.
165 pounds. So he's more of he's shifty, he's quicker, not really a big body. So I wonder if man coverage, we do have the taller corners that tend to be that Notre Dame prototype, like 6'1 plus, 180 plus. Is that something that we're going to be able to shut him down, or is he going to be able to find space? Cassius Howell is their red-shirted senior defensive end. He's only 6'2", 230 pounds. He's more of a speed-style rusher off the edge rather than one of these massive guys that you would expect from like a Georgia or Ohio State or Penn State. So hopefully because of the size, that's going to help this offensive line get right and maybe get a little bit of a push. However, again, he's speedy, he's athletic. He had 9 sacks 2 years ago. Last year, he only had a handful. I think there were some injuries, and they also brought in Nick Scorton, and there were some transfers, and they had a hell of a defensive line last year. So that Cassius Howell is someone to look after. He's probably going to get CJ Carr at least once. Hopefully, we can limit it to just that. That's kind of just setting the stage here, but Dylan, Tim, I'll pass along to you guys as I do just a little bit more research.
Yeah, well, you covered a lot of the notes I had, so I'll try to not duplicate. But just looking Analytic-wise, heading into this game, SP Plus has A&M as the 19th team in the country. Notre Dame is 18, pretty even. FPI has A&M 15th and Notre Dame 10th, but FPI is also giving us a 71.2% chance of winning the game, which is about the same as USF Miami. So you notice the lines are very different there, which is interesting. A&M has given up a lot of points, to your point, Steve, and both of them to bad teams. They've also given up a lot of rushing yards, so I think if there's a weakness there for Notre Dame to exploit, it might be in the run game. Marcel Reed, as you've pointed out, dual-threat quarterback. He had 7 rushing touchdowns last year. He's their current leading rusher in terms of yardage right now. He is injured, but he's supposed to be playing. I think it was a midsection injury. Last season, his QBR, 75.4, which was good for 23rd in the country, and he helped turn around that offense last season when he came in for Connor Wigman. He has not thrown a pick so far this season, but again, he hasn't played good competition. That's definitely going to be the X factor for A&M, so we're going to have to watch out for the quarterback and keep a guy on him, because running quarterbacks in Notre Dame, I know how we all feel about that. So running back, a little bit by committee, they got 2 guys, a nice 2-headed monster there, Moss and Owens, main 2 running backs. They are going to pick up yards if you give them space. They also got a lot of weapons. I really like their receiving options. You've mentioned Mario Craver, but I also think Casey Concepcion is even perhaps more talented. Super athlete out there on the wide receiver position. Defensive end, you've hit it. Cassius Howell's got 3 sacks already. Also, for recruiting gurus out there who follow Notre Dame recruiting, Sam Mpemba, young player, he's flashing early in the season. Notre Dame was in on him years ago. Might be a player to watch. We knew he's super athletic, so that could be someone that gets after the quarterback.
Did he transfer from Georgia to Texas A&M? I thought he got recruited to Georgia.
I'm not sure where he committed.
You are exactly correct. He was a Georgia commit. Yep.
Huh. Did he transfer or did he just flip?
No, he's a transfer.
Okay.
They've got a 5th-year senior linebacker, Scooby Williams. He's kind of their main clog. You look at his stats, I don't think he was ever really the main guy on a defense, but now in his 5th year, he's kind of taken up that mantra. I know he had a great first game. Also, their offensive line is solid. They've got good players on the offensive line, especially the left tackle, Trey Zunn. Just hearing a lot of great things about him so far to start the season. So there's going to be some issues. You're going to have to get to the quarterback for sure. We'll talk more about keys to the game. But in terms of just previewing a quick scouting report of Texas A&M, that's kind of what I see roster-wise. Timmy, you got anything interesting for us?
Yeah, a bunch. So the first thing that none of you said yet is they have a head coach named Mike Elko, who's pretty good. So keep that in mind. I also agree with you, Dylan. I think Concepcion's even better than Craver. He had a punt return that he took to the house earlier. He can move. He's got good hands. I watched because I had nothing else to do today because I was totally super busy at work, and I decided I'm still going to watch every play of this Texas A&M first 2 games anyway, so I did that. So you can't take that time back either. That was a waste of 40 minutes of my life. But the overall note, to summarize it all in one sentence, is their offense is good, their defense is bad, their special teams are good. That's the easiest way to put it out there in one word. Thank God their defensive line is not as good as Miami's. You could totally break them with the run game. We could jam it down their throats, and there'd not be a damn thing that they could do about it. So I hope we do that.
It's weird that Mike Elko has a bad defense as a head coach. Just with how great of a defensive coordinator he is and was. I find it weird that his defense is not up to snuff this year.
And I'm saying bad because I'm going bad or good. There's no in between. I'd say they're
relatively
subpar
speaking
on the defensive line. They were actually mixing coverages pretty good. They had a defensive tackle drop back into pass coverage, which was really cheeky. But then they ran the ball and he wasn't in position to make a play, and they blew by him against I think it was UTSA when I saw that one. Yeah, so I think that their defense is not dog shit, but it's shit. Their special teams look good. Kickoff returns, kickoff coverage, punt returns, punt coverage. Their field goal kicking, a little sus. Didn't look great from over 40. Didn't look confident either in the operation as a whole. So we should have an advantage there. Their offensive line had very good pass protection. They had good run blocking. They were pulling to the right spots, hitting all the right stuff. So that's a little concerning, seeing as our defensive line hasn't really shown up yet this year. Which is one question I did ask Anthony Knapp that was a football question was, has there been any thought to Notre Dame playing 3-4 defenses into 4-3? Because we have 1,000 linebackers, and it feels like we don't have enough defensive linemen. And he said, well, I've never seen it in practice, which means no. So there has been zero thought to that. I think it'd be worth exploring if this week doesn't go so well. What else do I got here? All right, so some more. Wow, I'm just reading what I wrote down. That's stupid. So there one guy, Bussy. He be bussing. He was scooting out there, making some plays. The Reed is a great quarterback. He could scoot. He got hurt on a 2-yard scramble last week, and then they had their backup come in, and he was throwing darts. 3 passes for 100 yards, 1 pick, 1 touchdown. So honestly, I'd pick your poison. I think they're both equally good. I forget his name, but I think it's Miles something. The good news for Bus, if we can win this coin flip, I think that's a huge advantage, specifically because at halftime, Texas A&M came out sluggish on defense out of the half both times, like gave up massive drives. So if we can get the ball to start the second half, I think that's a huge advantage for us. So that coin flip means a little more this week. And that's all I got. Yeah, give the ball love.
Yeah. Now, a couple of games that I wanted to highlight that Marcel Reed did have last year. Again, he was kind of the spark plug to help the second half of their season. Now, he did, even though he did come in and take over as the starter, he also missed a couple of games due to injury, and he misses games due to injury because he is prone to taking sacks. He's also prone to taking some hits because, again, as a scrambler, he's trying to be a playmaker. Now, with that comes massive playmaking ability. This is a scrambling quarterback that can buy time. He can wreak havoc and really cause some issues. And as we saw with Notre Dame against Miami, if our secondary is left on an island to try to defend for 5, 6, 7 seconds, if we're not getting pressure, or if he's able to buy time, that can ultimately not be fortuitous for us. But in a game that they barely won last year, he was only 11 for 22 for 163 yards, and he got sacked 3 times against Arkansas. And that was at home. Against South Carolina, which had a phenomenal defense last year, and I think a defense comparable to Notre Dame. They got blown out by 24 points. He only had 200 yards passing, threw an interception, and was sacked 3 times. Against Auburn, he had decent stats, but again, another interception and was sacked 4 times. And then against Texas, he was sacked another 2 times, no touchdowns, threw an interception, and only had 150 yards or 146 yards passing more specifically. And again, Texas is a comparable defense to the Irish. So against more complex defenses, against better defenses, he has struggled. He's still pretty green. He's young in his career. I think he's pretty sure he's a red shirt sophomore or a true sophomore. He's pretty young, this Marcel Reed kid. He's talented. He's very talented, so respect him. Respect his legs. He's not the greatest thrower in the world, but I think that his legs can help him throw to open receivers. So that's the biggest concern that I have. Their defense, as you guys had discussed and pointed out, they've not been fantastic. Now I think they're going to have a pretty solid pass rush, and I think against Notre Dame, and that matchup and kind of that cat and mouse game, especially with CJ Carr being a freshman, make CJ make easy decisions.
Yes.
Don't go with this with too much RPO bullshit, or if it is RPO, it just feels like those quick hitter pops. The only person I've seen really perfect it was Mac Jones 2020 against us, right? It just feels like there's too much room for error with those short little pop RPOs. I'm personally not a fan. I think more traditional play action, and then you let CJ, you give him a primary read and then a secondary read, and if it's not there, run for your fucking life and get down.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just try to simplify it. They've had a couple of weeks. We have the coordinators, we have the coaching staff that are going to hopefully put these guys in a better position. Joe Rudolph, earn your fucking keep this week. Please, for the love of God, for my mental health and for the survival of my family going forward, please just Joe Rudolph, get these boys ready on that offensive line. It's going to be tight. This is going to be a one-score game. And it's going to be nerve-wracking. Oh, man. I honestly, I think this is a one-possession game that comes down to the final possession. So I'm going to be a Texas A&M respecter this week.
I got some keys to the game. I'll rattle them off and then pass them along to Tim before we do score predictions. You need to be able to run it on them. We've identified the run game as potential weakness. This has to be a J. Love week. He has to show up this week. They have to give him the ball, and they have to run it effectively. I don't mean just hand off the ball if you're getting no success. You have to have success running the ball this week. I don't think that's a negotiable if you want to win this game. I think this could be an offensive-heavy game, and I think to counter that, you need to slow the game down and give your defense a rest. We saw that with Miami. Our defense was just too gassed in the humidity, in the back-and-forth nature of the game. Have long drives. Run the ball. Give them a break. Use CJ when you need to, but you have to stay in control of the game. Speaking of CJ Carr, you have to give him time to throw. He can dissect a defense. We've seen that. We've seen the arm talent. We've seen the spontaneous ability. You have to keep him clean. So that's where A&M's strong. Where we think where they're weak is in the running game, you have to exploit that. And where they're strong, you have to negate it a bit. You have to be able to give him time to get off the ball. If he's getting sacked all game, this is going to be a nightmare. So the offensive line is, right off the bat, key to winning this game. They got to run the ball. They got to protect the quarterback. You need to get pressure on the quarterback. That should go without saying. This is a running dual-threat quarterback, and Carson Beck picked us apart. You can't get picked apart this game. The receivers are too talented. You have to get pressure, whether that's from a four-man rush or a blitz. I don't care. You have to get to the quarterback. I'm most importantly looking at Leonard Moore and Christian Gay versus Concepcion and Craver. I think that's going to be a phenomenal matchup. I think this is a really tough game for us. I think they have a lot of weapons. I don't think their performances have been good. I don't think A&M's last two games has inspired anything, which is why the line for Notre Dame is pretty big this game. But individually, they are very talented. And I don't like the matchup in a lot of areas, especially if our DBs aren't as good as we thought they were coming into the year, which, the Miami game suggested, you could throw on us. That's a big matchup. And last but not least, but you have to play to the crowd and to the atmosphere. There's going to be A&M fans ever. This is still going to be a Notre Dame crowd. It's going to be a night game. It's going to be loud. It's going to be raucous. And you got to play into that. You've got to get critical stops. You've got to get first downs. You got to let that momentum and the crowd noise surge you forward. That's an intangible, but it can mean a lot, especially in a close game, which is, I think, how a lot of us are viewing it. So, Tim, I'll kick it off to you before we give our score predictions and wrap up this.
Yeah,
podcast.
Boys. Notre Dame players, staff, cheerleaders, all of y'all. If you need motivation, just look my way. Section 25, row 28. I'll give you motivation. I will yell very loudly at you, get you going. Speaking of which, the one thing that A&M's D-line is, I didn't say this before, is they're very momentum-based. I mean, most sides of the ball are, right? But their D-line is actual momentum-based. So, if you push them back one play, you could push them back the next play, and then just the rest of the drive, you're just going to be pushing them back very easily. If they get a sack on the first play, they're going to definitely press you on the second play, probably get a sack, maybe on the third play too. They are so momentum-based. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It just seemed to fall that way in almost every down I was watching. If they got pushed back, they got pushed back for the rest of the drive. If they made a play, they made plays nonstop. There was never an in-between. The one thing that y'all said was Reed. I don't know his in-the-pocket accuracy, I don't think it's as good as his on-the-move accuracy. So I think it's going to be very important to keep him contained in the pocket and get sacks that way and not let him break the pocket and run around. You can't have him looking like, who's that really douchey quarterback that paints his nails and now play? Caleb Williams, that's right. So we can't let him do what he did against us at USC 2 years ago, losing track of time. So if we keep him in the pocket, we'll be good. And then I agree with both of you. If we can cut the amount of RPO play calls, just cut them in half at least. and dish those play call options to a run or a play action or a pass, any one of those three. But I think we needed to cut the RPOs in half. It was, especially for a freshman. I know he just got a big dose of experience there, but I don't think it's he's still second game, So take the decisions out of his mind. I'm not against RPOs. I think they're excellent, but you got to get good at them before they're effective. And I don't think a freshman quarterback playing in this level for the first time, he doesn't in practice, yes, but it's not game situations. So I would like to see that number cut in half. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, then. Let's talk about score predictions. Steve, what are you feeling for this one?
Dylan. Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You know me. They are going to win this game. But it's going to be tight. Texas A&M is going to cover. It's going to be Notre Dame 24, Texas A&M 20.
Oh, Steve, you've got me all hot and bothered by saying that. I got this game, Notre Dame 24, Texas A&M 23.
Ooh.
Get a room. All right,
Timmy, what do you got, buddy?
I guess it leaves it up to me. So mine's be a little more controversial than yours. I've got Texas A&M to win. The hearts and minds of AP voters everywhere after they lose a valiant effort against Notre Dame. I think it's going to actually be 35-20. I think Notre Dame's going to pull away late.
Oh, okay.
You can't fuck with us like that on the show.
Yeah,
this is a
you just hit
Homer
us with the
podcast.
hezzy real quick, and my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah, I think it'll be close till the fourth quarter. I think Notre Dame will make a big play, big turnover, get touchdown real quick, and kind of pull away.
I hope you're right, Tim. If that margin 15 is the case, then I'm feeling really.
It's not going to be a 15-point game the entire game. It's just going to.
No,
it's going to be much more like when we beat Wisconsin in Chicago. It's going to be much more like that.
Yeah, which is a game we maybe didn't deserve to win, yet somehow won by about 30 points. So
yeah.
Well, good podcast, guys. We covered a lot. I'm a little worried for this game, to be honest with you. Just there's a lot on the line, and I think there's some matchup issues there. But I do believe in Marcus Freeman. I believe in this culture. I believe in the program, and I believe in you guys.
8-3.
That's it.
Love it. Well, thank you everyone for joining in and tuning in.
I have one thing I got to make sure I say before I screw this up.
Let it rip.
I got to say, this is my sign-off message. Anthony Knapp is a great dude to hang out with. Highly recommend hanging out with him. Had a blast just talking to him, vibing with him, having him around. The one thing that sucks about him is he's too damn tall to take a picture with. So if you are below the height of 6 foot, you look like a midget. So I tried to take a picture with him, and I asked his girlfriend to take the picture and time it right. She's like, what? And I jumped so I was the same height as him. And then she missed it, so I looked like half the size, even worse. So because it was when I was jumping. So, yeah, just if you do take a picture with him, get yourself a booster stool. Great dude.
Well, if only he was about 3 inches taller. But regardless, as always, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Rate 5 stars. That helps us a lot. Subscribe if you have not already. Write us a review, roast us, make fun of us. We love it. And share.
For the record, only Steve likes that. To say something nice, actually. I prefer if you just said you enjoyed our podcast. That would be perfect, actually.
I'm gonna say something.
Yeah.
Mean. I'm gonna review it and say something.
If you guys say something mean, I'm gonna probably blow my shit smooth off my shoulders. But yeah, I mean, share this with one of your good old friends. That there's always that one Notre Dame person that you talk ball with every September. So share that with them. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks so much for everything. I'm gonna close out with Go Irish and kick it off to you two.
Go Irish.
How about them Irish?
I can't take it anymore. I need a national championship.
This is the Four Horsemen Podcast.